Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to TradeBlocked, brought to you by Club Fantasy. Oh, we've got a great show here tonight. We are talking some Jaylen Waddle this evening. We've been, should I say, waddling around the topic here since the show's inception here. And tonight we just finally bring it home. Was that too much? Yeah, it's going to be a fun one here.
You can say that.
But I got to introduce my co-host. As you know me, I am Dustin. By me at FF Dusty Dog. But my partners in crime here on TradeBlocked. We've got Hoov at HoovTube. How are you doing this evening, sir?
What's up, all you hotties and gentle people out there? I'm doing great. I hit like 70% this weekend on all my bets. It wasn't 100%. Nothing to brag about right now, but we're getting better. And I feel it any day now. I'm tingling. Joel?
Love it. Yes. And Joel, the third member of our fantasy menage a trois here at the Wirth. How are you doing?
Doing all right. A lousy day at work, so ready to chop up some trade talk. Put that nonsense
fantasy
behind
football.
Me.
That's always the cure for that.
Exactly.
Do you care to talk about it at all?
It's customers. I hate customers.
All right. Well, we got plenty of good conversation to talk about today other than work. Let's all kick back and relax and have a great show tonight, because we got someone that honestly probably wishes that he had a day job like yours right now, having to go and play for the Miami Dolphins in that offense right now. We got wide receiver 2 over there, Dolphins wide receiver Jaylen Waddle as a talking point tonight. So, boys, what is Jaylen Waddle's current value looking like to you? To start with Joel.
Joel, kick us off.
Yeah, come on.
Sucks. But it's more because of the team environment than anything. I mean, that team's a disaster. That they have no quarterback. They have a play caller that we thought was pretty good, who's not getting the job done, even with a backup. I mean, if you look at what Green Bay did with Malik Willis, and I mean, that's the standard. You can get shit done with a backup quarterback, and Miami's just not doing it. It's not. So I mean, this has got to fall on McDaniel. This is a disaster, and it's dragging Waddles down. It's dragging Jaylen Waddle down. It's dragging Tyreek Hill down. It's dragging Devon Achane down. It's a mess. I mean, these are teams that are players that we, were top. All of them that were top 35, 40 picks this year. So yeah, it's bad, and yeah, his value is down. I mean, he's a very polarizing player. There's going to be teams in your league who love him and think he's undervalued and think things are going to break for him. And there's teams in your league who are owners in your league who think he's overrated and don't want him. So buy from the latter and sell from the former. Sell the former.
I was going to say with your comment, I couldn't even get through it. I just started busting out laughing just thinking of it. And I'm like, hey, who's to say that Malik Willis just didn't go after like every good defense in the league when he was a starter? And I couldn't even think of it without busting out laughing. So yeah, they're in some tough shit right now. That's the truth. Dustin, where are you leaning on things?
Yeah, he is very polarizing because we've seen the talent. Like we saw it his rookie season. He was unbelievable. Even next to Tyreek Hill. I think that only helped the situation there, having another stud next to him. But yeah, the situation where it's at right now is just so up in the air. McDaniel, isn't pulling his weight as the play caller. It looks like they're going to get Tua back here eventually, and he's going to play, but who knows for how long that's going to last. I mean, I don't think the guy should come back and play football at all after this last concussion, but he's the one making that decision. But, if as long as Tua's back, I think he'll be fine and he'll bounce back fine, and could be, if that's someone you believe in and you want to trade for him for like your fantasy playoff run here, and you believe that he with Tua is going to rebound and return good value, I think that could be a play you make. But that's an awful dicey proposition.
Yeah, I'm looking completely at Dynasty for Jaylen Waddle right now, and it's a tough situation to look at. But as someone that I also could see Shedeur Sanders on the horizon coming into Miami, as I talked about many times on this show and Club Fantasy here. I think that we should still, maybe pump the brakes a little bit on his dynasty value. And maybe looking at a few of these guys, I might lower him a little bit. But we've talked about Jaylen Waddle so much on this show. I mean, I feel like every time that we talk about someone in the top 15, we're making the point you should buy Jaylen Waddle because he is that good. And once he gets his quarterback back, or at least a quarterback, and Tyreek Hill is gone, this guy is going to be a certified top 10 wide receiver. So I think I might be a little more optimistic than you guys, but at the same time, this is Dynasty. So, when the talent's there, you kind of have to evaluate that as well. But before we get into Waddle's value, we do have a question in the comments section. Let's get to that first. Jennifer asks, 12-man Dynasty, what kind of picks can I shop for ETN and a Shaheed package? So, Joel, do you want to start us out? What alone would you be looking at for ETN, not alone with Shaheed?
Like for a package, you can probably get a couple seconds. Like you're not getting a first for either one of these guys.
Let's say standalone on ETN.
I don't know. He has no value right now. He's probably the second RB on that team. He's hurt. I don't think anyone's given up anything for him right now. So, I mean, if you want to pay a second, you're probably overpaying.
Dustin, do you agree?
I think a second's probably what you're going to be able to get for him. I can't see anybody paying a first or multiple seconds at this point. Maybe once he comes back and he's healthy, pops off for a game or two, might increase his value a little bit. But I think, the days of paying a first for ETN or getting a first for him is probably past. I would settle for a second. I would try for a couple seconds, but I think no one's going to pay that.
So the seller probably wants to. We'll have to settle with one. What about Shaheed? Mm-hmm. So let's combine the value here. Is it 1 second or 2 seconds, or kind of the same boat?
Same thing.
So
the problem is he's hurt. And we do not like it could be like really bad. They're saying this could be a serious long-term injury. So I don't know that anyone's buying him right now.
So 2-2s confidently. Mm-hmm. If he's questionable from like a 2 to 2-2s and he might have a long-term injury, probably should settle with the 2, and then that you'd be getting with ETN. So I'd probably go with 2-2s on this package right here. Maybe the person getting these guys would feel like this is a great deal and you can focus on the future. So that's what I'd be looking at for you, Jen. All right. So Jaylen Waddle's current value, back to the basics here. Okay. Jaylen Waddle's current value on our partner Dynasty Nerds is at wide receiver 12. And at Sleeper, he is currently at wide receiver 14. Not a big difference. You can imagine the kind of players that he is around in the Dynasty landscape. Not a big difference between the two platforms. So let's look at the 5 wide receivers currently above Jaylen Waddle on Dynasty Nerds. At wide receiver 7, A.J. Brown. Wide receiver 8, Garrett Wilson. Wide receiver 9, Nico Collins. Wide receiver 10, Devonta Smith. And wide receiver 11, Puka Nacua. So there's a few names on here battling injuries. Even with the injuries, are you still taking people like Puka Nacua and Nico Collins over Jaylen Waddle right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any of these names that are standing out to you that you're like, I think I'm gonna pass on Jaylen Waddle for, or I'm going to take Jaylen Waddle instead of?
No.
The only one I might consider is Puka. I would consider it, but I don't know if I would. I would definitely do that, but it would be in the conversation for me. It'd be close.
I mean, I can easily say AJ Brown I wouldn't do, but Nico Collins, he's probably top 5, like we talked about on the show previously. Puka worries me in the sense that we don't know what life's going to be like after Matthew Stafford. I feel better about Jaylen Waddle life after Tua once they get someone better than they currently have in building. In there, probably a franchise guy, even if it's not Tua. Maybe it is Shedeur, I'm not sure. But I feel like Jaylen Waddle long-term will be better off than Puka in a life after Matthew Stafford. And then Devonta Smith, the talent's there. I love Devonta. I think that he's probably he's right there. He's right there with Jaylen Waddle, that he's probably the best wide receiver 2 on any team. Debo's up there as well. Maybe even Brandon Ayuk is now the 2, but that's a debate on itself. But the big name that's actually kind of standing out to me right now, and maybe this is overreaction after the Davante Adams trade, but Garrett Wilson, now a wide receiver 2 he was been looking like a wide receiver 2 with Allen Lazard already. So any debate about Garrett Wilson right now?
I mean, since week 1, Jaylen Waddle has 16 catches for 144 yards. It's not tough to do that. That's 30 fantasy points in 5 weeks. He's had the bye. He's not giving you anything right now. So unless you think that offense is going to turn around really quick, I'd still rather have the Jets wide receiver 2 than Waddle right now.
I think he's wide receiver 3, but that's a hot take. I mean, Allen Lazard's showing what he can do. He was probably the wide receiver 1 before that.
Drop the ball.
You understand the concept of what I'm saying. Like, it's a 2-3. It's a 2-3. And so Garrett Wilson now, he is the 2 behind Davante Adams. Davante Adams is still a top 10 wide receiver. So him reuniting with Aaron Rodgers
boy.
and him reuniting with that chemistry. Oh man, I don't know how Garrett Wilson is still a top 10 wide receiver in this ranking. And I'm not even a Devonta Smith guy, but I think I'd take dynasty wise. I'd take Jaylen Waddle over Garrett Wilson right now after the Davante Adams trade.
Yeah, but how many good years does Davante still have in him?
We've talked about this with players like Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, we're burnt right now on it, but players like Derrick Henry, that you almost run them into the ground because they're so good, and you're not going to get what you want if you're selling them. So, is Davante Adams that guy? I don't know.
I don't know.
Joel, you have a look on your face like you got something to say. So.
But I think Garrett Wilson's he's too good. I think they both can coexist in that offense.
He's not bad.
I mean, we saw Aaron Rodgers support multiple wide receivers previously too, so I think they can coexist. Maybe he takes a little bit of a dip these first couple weeks because they really want to get Adams involved in this offense. But if anything, Garrett Wilson could be more of the downfield guy, where Adams is going to be the short, move the chains type play.
I think the problem here is you're assuming that Rodgers is going to be their quarterback going forward after this year, and I vehemently disagree. He's not. He's not going to be their quarterback next year. He's not. He's going to be 41. No. So I have zero concern about Garrett Wilson's dynasty value. None.
Shouldn't that concern you as well? Because that's the same boat that I'm in. That after
they're going to draft a
Rodgers,
quarterback. They're going to draft a quarterback.
And what was the issue with Zach Wilson?
He sucked.
And what was Garrett Wilson? It was what could be with Garrett Wilson. So I don't know. I feel so much better about where the Dolphins are positioned to get a quarterback next year, to get someone in replace of Tua, than the Jets are to replace Aaron Rodgers and their capability of even doing it. I mean, I wasn't the biggest Ryan Tannehill guy. I'm not the biggest Tua guy, but I trust the Dolphins in developing a quarterback a lot better than I do the Jets. So maybe it's the city, maybe it's just the team culture. I'm not sure, but I think I still would take Jaylen Waddle over Garrett Wilson. Let's take a look at some of the guys that are currently below him. See what you guys think. 5 wide receivers currently below him. Drake London, wide receiver 13. Roma Dunze, wide receiver 14. Tyreek Hill, his teammate, wide receiver 15. Jaden Reed, wide receiver 16. And Chris Olave at wide receiver 17. Now we're getting into the real good talk. Any of these guys that you would take over Jaylen Waddle? Start with you, Dusty.
Why? Oh, yeah, this is tough. Maybe Drake London, maybe Rome, but it's questionable. I don't see any of the others though. Leapfrogging Waddle here.
I think I would take Rome. I would take Rome over him as well. Rome confidently. Rome probably, in my opinion, would be the wide receiver 10. And then I'd probably have Waddle at round 11, in my opinion, or in my rankings. So, yeah, I think Rome is probably the biggest standout, but it's very close. I'm not an Olave guy. You couldn't talk me into it. You probably could questionably talk me into Jayden Reed, just because any week he could be a top. I mean, he could be the number 1 wide receiver overall, but any given week he could be a top 10 wide receiver alone. So I love Jayden Reed. He's in one of the best offenses in the league right now in Green Bay. So how could you not? And seeing Rome at the draft, I can't turn down another share of Rome and Dunze, baby. So any comments?
What about you, Joel?
I think you have to take Drake London ahead of him right now. I mean, London's averaging 11 targets a game since week 1. I mean, he's killing it. So he has to go ahead of Waddle right now. Rome, I agree with you guys. I think I'm taking Rome ahead of Waddle. We've seen what he can do when he and Caleb Williams are working together. So I think that looks good going forward. Tyreek, no, I would not take. I mean, he's in the same situation. He's significantly older, so no, I wouldn't take that. But yeah, I would take Jayden Reed out of him. Jayden Reed's producing, and Waddle is not. And I think Chris Olave with the injury is basically the same player that Waddle is. So I'd say they're pretty even.
Tyreek Hill is like the player that I'm a lot more worried about, like life after Tua with, is like what's going to happen when he doesn't have like one of the most accurate passers in the NFL. Maybe not the longest passer with the biggest arm, but definitely has some accuracy under him. So I'm a little more worried about Tyreek Hill in the sense, like as someone that was just talking about Derrick Henry and running him into the ground. I'd be more worried about taking a chance on Tyreek Hill's age compared to Waddle's youth. So I agree with Joel on that one as well. Any Olave points while we got it right there?
Why?
I mean, this is Wonder Boy here. Everyone always tries to talk me into Chris Olave. I've never been able to see it. This is a perfect opportunity that if you view him at least as a top 15 wide receiver, you should be at least banging the gauntlet that maybe Jaylen Waddle
can't do it.
I think he's a buy low. I mean, if a contender's got him and can't really afford to take the time off with the concussion and is worried about Carr being out for a while and having to deal with Spencer Rattler, then yeah, I'd like to go out and buy him if I can get him cheap.
All right. Let's look at some honorable mentions on Dynasty Nerds. Compare them. Let's look at a Dynasty landscape because there is one player here that is currently injured. So let's look at long-term landscape. Rashee Rice at wide receiver 18, Jackson Smith and Jigba at wide receiver 21, Xavier Worthy at wide receiver 22, Brian Thomas Jr. at wide receiver 26, and Jameson Williams at wide receiver 32. Now, Jameson Williams, wide receiver 32, it seems pretty low for him, but his ADP is probably not going to be a wide receiver 32 very much longer. He is booming up the rankings. Same thing with Brian Thomas Jr., my guy, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and either of these, Chiefs receivers, Rashee Rice currently injured, but he's got that chemistry, suspension on top of it, Worthy, ascending talent as well. Any of these guys stand out to you that you would take over Jaylen Waddle? Joel?
I would take Rice easily. He's a top 6 dynasty receiver. BTJ is obviously the best receiver in the history of football. So, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, I would take BTJ ahead of him pretty easily. James Williams is going to get 4 targets a game for the rest of his life. So no, but yeah, those guys I would.
Hold on. I want to just circle back to the first thing that you said. You said, and I quote, Rashee Rice is a top 6 wide receiver?
When he's healthy, yeah.
But, okay, he's got a suspension on top of it, coming back to possibly next year. That is bold. All the comment section, I want to hear what you guys have to say about that, because I can't believe that I just heard that. I'm not even hearing anything close to that. Obviously, he was a great buy right now, but Rashee Rice, in a dynasty landscape, I thought he was a great redraft candidate, but long term, I'm not in on Rashee Rice like that.
I could see making a case for Rice. He would be the only one on this list that I would even consider taking above Waddle. But again, with the upcoming suspension, we're not going to see him this year. It does knock him down a couple notches in the short term. But I could see making a case for Rice just being attached to Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in that offense. Like, it's going to be electric. So when he's back and he's healthy, yeah, I can make that case. Not top 6. I'm not saying top 6. Don't get me wrong, but over Waddle, I could see.
Dustin, I'm telling you right now, if you and we went down to Tyranina and I was 2 in, I would be talking JSN Brian Thomas Jr. over Waddle right now. Okay, but I'm sober. I'm completely sober, so I'll stand on business. I'll say that Waddle, is better right now. But 2 in, I could talk myself into that, baby. JSN, BTJ all day. Let's look at, this is probably a great time that we should talk about our partners over at Dynasty Nerds before we move on to Sleeper. So, Dustin, can you let the viewers know all about our great partners over at Dynasty Nerds with their help from their rankings?
Absolutely. Do you want to take your Dynasty teams to a championship? Who doesn't? Do you want to stack championships for years to come? Who doesn't? Then you need to hear about Club Fantasy's newest partnership, Dynasty Nerds. Dynasty Nerds is one of the most trusted sources for both Dynasty advice and Dynasty tools. Their Nerd Score helps identify rookies with high ceilings and longevity to keep you in contention for years. If what you're looking for is film on incoming rookies, then look no further than their All-22 film room. They even have a Dynasty trade calculator that can help you find values throughout the season and better understand how to value players across an ever-changing landscape. And these are just a few of the tools that they offer. Head to dynastynerds.com to see for yourself. Choose from one of their subscription plans, and at checkout, enter the code Club Fantasy. That's one word, Club Fantasy, to save 15% off your subscription. Once again, go to dynastynerds.com, use the promo code Club Fantasy, get 15% off, save today, and just support our great sponsor here because they have a lot of great tools.
So many smart people, and that's coming from a smart person myself. So ultimate vouch right there. So they got a lot of great people over there, a lot of great tools. Make sure you go ahead, check them out. Great stuff going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
But we also got to talk about another great tool that is for the fantasy community, and that is the great app Sleeper, and what they currently have is their rankings. All right, so he is currently wide receiver 14. He is 2 spots lower than Dynasty Nerds have them. Let's look at the 5 wide receivers above him on Sleeper. AJ Brown, wide receiver 9. Chris Olave, wide receiver 10. Malik Neighbors, wide receiver 11. Drake London, wide receiver 12. And Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver 13. Big difference out of Chris Olave between Dynasty Nerds and Sleeper right there. That's the first one that comes to mind. This is a big Malik Neighbors account. I'm not going to hear anything, I'm sure, about that. But what about the other guys? Brandon Ayuk's the first name that we haven't heard so far.
Go ahead. I think you got to take Ayuk.
You've got thoughts. I can see
he's
it.
Healthy. Yeah, he's healthy. He's playing. He's in a good offense. So yeah, I think you got to take Ayuk ahead of him.
Look, I'm pissed at Ayuk right now. That's like the biggest bad take that I have this season, and I'm owning it, and I hate it because I'm owning it. But no matter where Brandon Ayuk goes, he's a 1,300-yard receiver, and he is talented, and I stand on that. And he has not lived up to that, ladies and gentlemen. He has not. So I'm eating a lot of crow with my Brandon Ayuk takes right now. But I completely agree. I feel like, you have to take someone that he's got so much talent. He knows how to get open once all this rust wears off and this offense is fully clicking with Christian McCaffrey back in it. Because I feel like that's a big thing that people are forgetting. Like, as great as Jordan Mason is, he's not Christian McCaffrey, and he is like the glue to this whole entire offense. So I'm still optimistic about Brandon Ayuk for playoffs the rest of the season as well. Dustin?
Yeah, I agree with both of you here. Olave's out of the picture, but yeah, I agree. I don't have much to add to that.
All right. Let's look at the 5 wide receivers below him on Sleeper. And there's two names that we haven't seen so far here. At wide receiver 15, Devonta Smith. Wide receiver 16, Michael Pittman Jr. Wide receiver 17, Roma Dunze. Wide receiver 18, Nico Collins. And wide receiver 19, DJ Moore. Wide receiver 18. You heard that right. Wide receiver 18. Joel.
Embarrassing.
I know. Get your rankings up. Maybe you guys gotta talk to our partners over at Dynasty Nerds. Maybe have them do your rankings for you, because that's egregious right there. Nico Collins.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
So
the fact that Nico Collins is behind Michael Pittman is a travesty. An absolute travesty.
Get those numbers up, baby. Okay. So what are we feeling? We haven't seen Michael Pittman Jr. yet. We haven't seen DJ Moore yet. These names entice you?
No.
I wish I was there with DJ Moore still. I really do. Like preseason, I was there. I was like, DJ Moore is going to be the piece. I was on with Roma Dunze. I was on with DJ Moore. I was like, both these guys, sky's the limit. Caleb Williams, QB3 dynasty. I mean, honestly, I could be bold, but QB3 top 3.
He's close.
Man, just wait. Ooh, sky's the limit with this kid. But I thought we've been waiting for DJ Moore's extension for years with a quarterback, and finally did it with Justin Fields. Backup quarterback Justin Fields. So I thought that he could finally click again, and we could see another top 10 finish. Not looking likely in a Shane Waldron offense, but that's also likely that you're not going to see that very often in that kind of scheme. But I wish I was there, baby. I do. Anything else to add about the 5 lore before we move on to notable mentions?
No.
Nothing? Okay. 5 notable mentions over on Sleeper. We have DK Metcalf, wide receiver 20. Zay Flowers. Wide receiver 19. I had to fix that. Zay Flowers at wide receiver 20. T. Higgins, wide receiver 22. Deebo Samuel, wide receiver 24. And Mike Evans at wide receiver 28. Is Mike Evans one of those veteran players that you're just going to ride off in the sunset, take over Jaylen Waddle right now?
I wouldn't take him over Waddle, but yeah, I'm just riding him out.
How close is it?
It's close. Are you competing or not? If you're competing, you want Evans. If you're not, you'd probably just rather have Waddle.
That's fair point. Dustin?
Anyone
else?
Anyone else? I think T. Higgins is interesting. I'm really hoping that he goes somewhere else this offseason or gets traded here before the deadline. Because I think he could be a difference maker on a different team. I think we've seen enough out of him that it's intriguing. I couldn't necessarily take him over Waddle right now, but I think he could be in the conversation.
Man, I wish I could be back on Zay Flowers too. That's another one. Oh, man. Just once, just give it like I want. 1 is I need it. 2 is being greedy. And 3 times, oh man, I'll start doing prayers if he finishes at wide receiver 1 this season. Ooh, me and the page behind fantasy Reddit. Oh, chef's kiss. That would be great, but not there anymore. Jaylen Waddle, even throughout the struggles, I think I'm there. T. Higgins, though, that's a name I'm slowly talking myself back into, and next injury, I will be burnt once again on T. Higgins. But right now I'm hopeful, and it's the cycle. We're here, and hopefully it's just a line going forward, and we don't circle back around. But T. Higgins is good. T. Higgins is very good. We haven't had very many trades in the comments section tonight, so we're about to jump into a few trades that we put together over here. But if you guys have any Dynasty trades, make sure you guys go ahead and drop them in the comment section. We will break them down for you. Something that you're feeling, something that came in, or maybe even something that you previously have done and wondering what the pulse is on it. So let us know. Come join us. All right. That sounded creepy. Come join us. Come join us. All right.
It's Halloween. It's all good.
First one.
That's right.
First one. Okay. Superflex. Jaylen Waddle or a 2025 first and a 2026 second? Is this where the dynasty value on Pixel is alone?
Yeah, I think I'd rather have the picks.
Dustin, where are you at? I got another one to follow it up to check the pulse on this. So let me know. First and second, you feeling it?
Yeah, I think the value's fine there. I could talk myself into either side, but I'd probably lean the pick side. But it's pretty close for me.
With the quarterback, you got to think two first, before the Tua injury again. So whether his value drops a whole pick or, a first to a second, I think I'm with the picks, honestly, with this one, just because, there's so many streaming options with wide receivers these days that maybe I could develop another player like a JSN that I know is going to be a top 20 wide receiver in a year with that 2025 first and a draft pick. So this one alone with the first and the second, I think I got to take my shot on the picks. But it's a tough one because Jaylen Waddle, if you bite the bullet too early and you trade him and Tua comes back in 2 weeks, well, you just lost out on a top 15 wide receiver right there for probably less than value. Not like the value's bad, but definitely could have gotten more. Let's look at one first. Jaylen Waddle or a 2025 first. Is this too low?
I'd want to know where it is.
Yeah.
If it's early, if I think it's early, I would take the pick. If it's late, I'd rather have Waddle.
Where in the draft, are you feeling it? Like 104 later or after 104, you're thinking maybe I'll take Waddle. What pick is like the determining
factor?
I
think if it's a top 4 or 5 pick, I'd rather just hold it. But if it's going to be late, if it's a contender and they're just trying to sell me their first straight up for Jaylen Waddle and I'm a non-contender, then I'd rather have Waddle. I'd rather keep Waddle.
Talent alone, it's hard to say that Waddle's not more talented than any of these guys other than maybe Luther Burden. But even then, he's really fucking good. So Jaylen Waddle's the truth, man. I think people kind of forget because he's overshadowed by Tyreek Hill, but so good, so fast. Dustin, where are you feeling?
I'm agreeing with Joel on this one. If it's early, give me the pick, but if it's later, I'll take Waddle.
Yep. It's hard to argue. But the second on top of it, if you send out a trade, maybe that's what we should say to our viewers out there. Maybe send out a feeler of Waddle for a first. Maybe the person selling right now is feeling that first and they're willing to take a chance on it. So maybe you don't have to do the 1 and the 2, which is an obvious buy. So maybe try to get Jaylen Waddle at a discount of only 1 first before you initially make the 1 and 2. Good advice. All right, that's my community that's my community service of the week. Okay. Now, do you think that there's any quarterbacks that have the same value of Jaylen Waddle currently? I'm trying to find the tier. It's tough. I did a 6-point passing touchdown and a 4-point passing touchdown to determine the values. See what you guys think. Superflex, 6-point passing touchdown, full PPR. Jaylen Waddle or JJ McCarthy?
How bad do I need a quarterback?
That's up to you. Let me know both.
Okay, if I've got 2 starters and I need a third, I'm taking McCarthy. If I've got like 3 or 4 guys I can, like if Baker Mayfield's my third, then yeah, I'm taking Waddle.
I think I would take McCarthy.
I'm a McCarthy guy, and I feel, oh man,
I think that's good. I think that's good value.
This is pretty close for me. It really is.
I think it is.
I think I'd lean Waddle just because of the full PPR. Like 6-point, it'll even it out. Like JJ McCarthy he has plenty of weapons around him to be a top 10, quarterback in fantasy any given week with the amount of weapons that he has around him. but in a full point PPR when Jaylen Waddle has a quarterback and is fully healthy, ooh, it's hard to turn down. So I think I'd take Jaylen Waddle in this one, even as a JJ McCarthy guy, and that's tough. Okay, let's look at another quarterback in a different passing touchdown league. 4 point, so value dips a little bit. Jaylen Waddle or Jared Goff?
I'd pick Waddle on this one.
This is a tough one.
Yeah, I think McCarthy is right around Goff value right now, not knowing what his future is going to hold. So yeah, I think this is close. Yeah, I think it just depends on what my quarterback room looks like. If I'm desperate for quarterback, then I'm taking Goff. If I'm set, then I'm good with Waddle.
Once again, I think I really like Jaylen Waddle here with the full PPR. Like Jared Goff is a great fantasy quarterback right now. Great value. I think that's probably his biggest advantage. Like people aren't going to want to say he's a top 10 quarterback, but any given week he could finish in the top 10, and he finishes borderline all the time. But a 4 point, I don't know if he's putting up points like that. Like maybe he's putting up an 18-point game or so. Jaylen Waddle, I'll take that. I'll take that when he's fully healthy, a 15-point game out of Jaylen Waddle. So that's probably where my head's at too. I'll lean Waddle on this one as someone that's more optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got another one from Jen in the comment section. Is Garrett Wilson still worth a first?
Plus.
First plus.
Oh, God, yeah.
Dustin?
Yeah, he's worth a first. I would do that easily.
In plus?
Possibly.
Like the first I'm like, okay, I could probably get a first. Give a first, get a first, feel good about it. Like if I'm going to talk myself into it out of, definitely after the 105 next year, I'd probably take Garrett Wilson, even as someone I'm like, oh man, it's when is it going to be the time? I'm almost at Chris Olave level with Garrett Wilson, and that sucks because I really like Garrett Wilson, but it's almost like it's going to feel the same thing. But I think I still would take a 2025 first, or I give up my 2025 first to someone that's contending in most of my leagues for Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave with the upside that they could have.
I would say just go to the manager who has Garrett Wilson in your league and offer them a first straight up, and they're not taking it. No way.
Mm-hmm. They're gonna want that extra too, kind of like we saw with Waddle. Like they're probably gonna want it. Maybe
yeah. So he's worth a first plus, easy. There's no way you're getting him for a first or less. No chance.
I don't know. I think you could. I'm determined. I'm gonna try to do this week. I'm gonna get Garrett Wilson for a first. At one of my leagues.
Now's the time to see if you can get him for just a single first with this Davante Adams trade coming in, because people are going to be panicked about him. So I think if there is ever the opportunity that you could get him for a single first, the time would be now, before this week's games hit.
Oh, Jen has Wilson. So what's the selling price? Let's get Jen a good deal here. All right, what are you selling Wilson at?
I mean, if we're willing to sell Waddle for a first and a second, I mean, that would be the minimum baseline starting. But I mean, I like Garrett Wilson better than Waddle, so I would, I would want more than that.
Give me a 1 and someone that I think is going to outscore Garrett Wilson the rest of the season in Wan'Dale Robinson. That's a 2 on top of it right there for me. That's a good replacement for what I think Wilson's going to do the rest of the season. I mean, Wan'Dale's top 20, so it's not like Garrett Wilson's dropping off a shit ton, but Wan'Dale's a great buy right now. Someone that, you could talk, like, it's probably a 2 right now. We got another one.
I want Wilson in a second for 2 firsts. That's the lowest I'm going.
Wilson in a second. Oh, that's okay. I could probably do that both sides easily.
Yeah.
There you go.
That.
You got your answer out of Joel. Jeff Morgan asks, dropped Waddle or states? Dropped Waddle for Ty Johnson yesterday. Lost.
Ouch.
R.I.P. And that's...
Hope you got the fab to buy him back.
Yeah.
If it's redraft, the rest of the season, I'm solely hyping up Waddle as a dynasty aspect. Like redraft, I think I'm done. The rest of the season, am I dropping him yet? I don't know. Just because there's so many injuries that maybe I might need to have a guy like Waddle to put in. But for Ty Johnson, that is a little spicy. Not gonna lie. Because this is a Ray Davis account, baby. So hard to argue. Get Pierce. Estimate. I always mess this up. Early first, late second, sent ETN Wilson was what I was going to send. Add more.
Oh yeah, I want a lot more if I'm sending that away. I don't care about Pierce. I don't care about Estimate. So that's early first, late second. Yeah, I still want more. I want more for Wilson. Who says an early first is
well, you said ETN's like a
Wilson?
Second. You said ETN's like a second, so Wilson in a second, right there. Just get two firsts, and
you need another first on top of this.
Yeah,
you need another first.
Don't worry about Pierce. Don't worry about Estimate. Get 2 firsts. Even try to get.
The problem is the person does the person you're trading with have 2 firsts? I mean, that's probably the issue, but. Yeah, I need significantly more than this.
Here's my thing.
Would you do it if one was 25 and one was 26? 2 firsts in that. Would that work for you, Joel?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of blunt.
I just want 2 firsts for the value.
I'm kind of blunt at times with my league mates. I'll be like, you don't have it, get one. That's my negotiation. So if you don't have it, get one and come back and we'll talk. That's the great part about trading is you can trade with other teams.
Yeah, I mean, I need. I'm in a league right now where
he's a sicko, so go get him. There you go, 2 firsts.
Yeah.
He's trying to collect the Infinity Gauntlet like Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
So tell him I want 2 firsts. With your ass. How you doing?
Yeah, throw in another first for sure. Easy.
Yep.
Okay. Now that that's settled, let's get back to the focus here. Jaylen Waddle or George Pickens in a 2025 second. Full PPR.
Waddle. I have no faith in Pickens.
The Pickens lovers are going to be hating on that. All right.
It's not the player, it's the team.
They have 2 starting quarterbacks, apparently.
I think the value in itself is okay, but I would take Waddle in this trade.
I'm taking Waddle in this trade confidently, but it is a good talking point because George Pickens is one of those players probably holds the value of a first, questionable, but Pickens and a second. This is a trade that I could probably see on the timeline, and I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah.
But I'm leaning more Waddle. Let's talk about a player we talked about earlier a little bit. Jaylen Waddle or DJ Moore in the 2025 second. Kind of the same situation. Popped off last year, wide receiver 6, but not the guy in Chicago really this year that we were expecting. Probably still hold a first. Questionable if someone's going to want to give up a first for DJ Moore right now. First and a second, basically, for Jaylen Waddle. What do you think? What side?
Waddle.
Joel?
I want to say Waddle, but if I'm contending, I just give me the guy who's producing.
Oh man, see, this is my true DJ Moore sicko is coming out right now, and I'm in. Just give me another share of DJ Moore. Maybe he gets traded. Maybe Shane Waldron gets fired. I'm gonna be hopeful. About 2 players that I think are extremely talented. I'm gonna write it out with DJ Moore in the value because that 2025 second. Who knows what I can pair and get with that as well. So one of the rare situations tonight that I will not be taking Jaylen Waddle. Any comment?
No, I agree.
All right. Another player kind of in the same boat as DJ Moore, has a little more youth on his side than DJ Moore does. Jaylen Waddle or Jordan Addison in the 2025 second.
Waddle.
I'm still gonna say Waddle. Jinx.
And this is like the clearest dropping down from Waddle. You can probably see like Addison, like with Waddle, I was saying earlier, like Smith and him are very 1-2, 1A, 1B of who's the second, or who's the best secondary wide receiver on their team. And Addison is in that next tier. He really is. And so you're dropping down that tier to get a second on top of it. If you're rebuilding, I understand why getting that second on top of it is probably a good idea. But me personally, as a contender, I'm going to lean with Jaylen Waddle on this one.
Mm-hmm. So we've got another trade question here in the chat. Would you trade Pollard and Hawkinson for Kyler Murray and Jacobs or Scary Terry? Lost Fields, and my tight end is Kittle.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Give me all the Kyler Murray, and if you get Scary Terry on top of it, I was not optimistic about Terry 3 weeks ago. Check the receipts. I was terrified of Terry right now, and glad that everything is settled. Everything is fine. The fires are going off, the alarms are going off in my head, but everything's fine now. So Terry and Kyler for that deal, I couldn't smash that fast enough.
Yeah, I would do it for Jacobs, but yeah, I'd rather have McLaurin.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it just for me, like even running backs, I've slowly gotten talked into this notion that running backs just don't hold value the same way in Dynasty, and I understand it. Like I'm just slowly converting to be a 0 RB guy in my Dynasty league, just because I'm like, look at what Braylon Allen can do. Like Braylon Allen could take away everything that was so precious to me in Breece Hall, and Tyler Algier could take away everything that's so precious to everyone else in Bijan Robinson. So, like, I'm starting to become more aware of the Ray Davises of the world and players like that. So, all right, let's talk about another player. We got another trade? Nope, that's it. All right.
Nope, that was it from the chat.
Back to it. Full PPR, Jaylen Waddle or Jameson Williams in the 2025 second. Is Jameson Williams there for you?
Yeah, I joked that Jameson Williams is going to get 4 targets a game for the rest of his life, and Jaylen Waddle has gotten 4 targets a game ever since week 1. But yeah, I'm still taking Waddle here.
Yeah, same. It's intriguing, just because of the pedigree of Jameson. And I know he's flashing a little bit this year, but I don't know if he's ever going to live up to that pedigree or that hype that he had coming out. So yeah, give me Waddle.
You know that really cringy poster that you like see at the doctor's office? It's just like, never give up on your dreams. And it's like someone digging, and then there's like a bunch of gold like right behind it, like right where you stopped and turned around. That's how I was with Jameson Williams, and I'm really hurt about it. Just getting that out there. It's like so close. Like, why did I just? But I did get JSN out of the deal, so it's like it's a win-win in my opinion. But damn, Jameson Williams, of course, I gave up on it right before he popped off. I'm happy for him. You look back on the receipts of even when I made that trade and was showing that I'm still was hyping up Jameson Williams for the season going into it. So just I'm not there. I still believe in Amon-Ra as a wide receiver 1 on that team for a long time to come. This is, I think I would honestly say that Jameson Williams is getting closer to that top tier like Smith and Waddle are. He's definitely jumped over Addison in my opinion, but like he's not there. So I kind of the same thing with Addison. Like if I saw this, I wouldn't hate it for dropping down probably a closer tier than Addison would be and getting a second on top of that. So I'd probably prefer this than the Addison one if I could. Any comment?
I think Addison and Williams are in the same tier. Yeah, I think they're pretty close.
It's close, but I think I'd prefer Williams right now in a trade. If I was getting rid of Waddle, I'd be like, I'd rather have Williams than Addison if this team had both players. So it's ironic that we talked about Terry in the comment section because we got a Terry trade as well. Jaylen Waddle or Terry McLaurin in a 2026 second. probably the better draft class out of the next two?
I'm still taking Waddle. I mean, McLaurin's going to be 29 next year. But he's going to be a guy that you're going to be forced to ride out. So, yeah, I'm taking Waddle. He's still got some liquid value.
Yeah, I love what McLaurin's done these last few weeks. Is that going to continue? I would love to hope so, because you'd love to see it for him, but I don't know. But yeah, and the age piece there too. Just give me Waddle.
Good, because this was a trap card that I laid down, and I was waiting for it. And so it's Jaylen Waddle. Always answer Jaylen Waddle. Trap card activated. You guys didn't fall for it, but we got one more trade that we have for the evening. 2 running backs. Let's see where we're at on that. Jaylen Waddle, full PPR, or the top 2 running backs of last year's draft class, Jonathan Brooks and Trey Benson.
I'll take Waddle.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Jonathan Brooks. I think once he's gets fully integrated, he's going to be pretty darn good. Trey Benson, I don't know. James Conner, man, he's just doing James Conner things, and just like he could hold him at bay. So give me Waddle.
Let's talk Brooks in a second then. Brooks in a second. Would that change your opinion?
Still Waddle.
No.
So why are you so out on Benson?
Can't get on the field. You can't beat out Amari DiMercato.
Let's talk about let's say it's Marshawn Lloyd then. Let's say
Marshawn
Lloyd can't get on the field either.
Well, he's on IR right now. So, but like you're saying, you wouldn't even split it for 2 running backs in this one. Jonathan Brooks was like probably worth a first.
It's a potential running back, and it's 2 potential running backs. We've seen nothing from either one of these 2. So, yeah, I mean, give me the known quantity. I mean, I love Jonathan Brooks as a prospect, but he may not be anything. Like, he may come off the knee surgery and not be the same guy, and now you've got nothing. So, yeah, I don't think Waddle contains that risk. So, yeah, give me the known quantity.
And once again, this was a trap card that I was waiting for. You should never. I was just telling you guys, don't trade an elite wide receiver for a running back. It's just not a good idea. 0 RB is the way to go. Boom. Jaylen Waddle. Dustin, anything to add?
No, I'm just happy I passed the test.
Beautiful. You guys, 2 trap cards activated tonight, and we got a perfect score from our team. Our team is great. We got great teammates over here at Club Fantasy, but with the people that we have over at Club Fantasy, we also have great partners. Not only at Dynasty Nerds, we also have great partners over at TrophySmack. So you need a draft board for your life draft? You need a championship or a belt to gloat to your league mates? TrophySmack has you covered. Shop all their products and fasten your achievements. Head to TrophySmack.com/WAP and start shopping. See that belt right there? That beautiful belt that Joel's got on his shoulder right there. Make sure you guys go ahead and get that. Make sure you head over there and support our partners. And, make sure that you really personalize all your leagues and make it as much of a fun experience as humanly possible. And because that's what fantasy is all about. When we got leagues that we're constantly dealing with injuries and we're sick of this shit, and at the end of the year, we can all rally together and have a good time, because this sucks. And we're all having a terrible time, but we can at least have a good time together at the end of the season by either having last place, wear something silly, or celebrating someone that actually had the healthiest roster at the end of the year. So those are 2 things that you should aspire for. You should head over to our partners over at TrophySmack.com/WAP and start shopping. Beautiful. What a great episode. We ran through that thing so fast, but we knocked out all the important parts. It just shows like this, they make me so much more excited about all the other shows that we have here at Club Fantasy throughout the week. Like how are they going to fill? How are they going to fill our shoes? How are they going to finish this up? So, you want to let the viewers know all about the rest of the shows that we have here at Club Fantasy?
I would love nothing more. So on Mondays, you've got the Mondays Hangxiety with Gator, Ryan, and Josh. On Tuesday, it's Wiretapped with Ryan and Josh. And you also have us TradeBlocked here. Wednesday mornings, it's Who's Your Caddy, which is a golf DFS show with Kelly and Adam. On Wednesday nights, the flagship show of No Pun Intended with Josh, Ryan, and Joe. On Thursday, it's the Dynasty After Party with Joel and Josh. On Friday, it's the Masterclass DFS show with Ryan and Austin. And on Saturday, it starts at different day with Joe, Josh, and a myriad of special guests throughout the season. Check out all those shows. Make sure you are following and subscribing to Club Fantasy FFL at Club Fantasy FFL on Twitter, and the Women of Fantasy Football at women_of_FF on Twitter as well.
Yeet.
And I think that does it, boys.
What a great show. I'm excited. Like, I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. I'm riveting. I'm gonna go get
I'm gonna go buy some Garrett Wilson. Yeah.
That's right.
Go buy some Garrett Wilson.
And what's the biggest takeaway of this Jaylen Waddle episode? Go buy Garrett Wilson.
Buy Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
That's right.
What a great show. That's the takeaway. So
that is.
But we got plenty of takes. It's been a rough season, like we talked about. So on Sundays, Thursday nights, make sure you guys head over on Twitter and check us out at FFDustyDog, at HoofTube, at the Joel Wirth, and DM us. Let us know your questions. Let us know how we can help. Submit your dynasty trades. Let us know. We will walk you through it because we want to make sure that our viewers over here at Club Fantasy are always ahead and are always in contention to win, because that's why we're here. We don't just do this to just send it into the ether. We want to help people. Okay. So
that's right. Help
us help you. Okay. Come back, subscribe, hit that like button, comment. You know what to do. This is Hoov. How you doing?
All right. And with that, I think we'll leave it there. Couldn't have said it better myself. And we will see you guys all next week. Same time, same place. Good luck on your fantasy squads this week.
Beautiful.